Well Read Baddies, welcome back to another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
And today we're out of it, I feel.
It's a little bit of a low day.
Yeah.
Sunday. We're recording on Sunday. We never do that already.
Right.
So it's already off. But then Alana's birthday, outing was yesterday. And it was just we're old. It took a lot out of us.
Yeah, our friend Kinsey, shout out to our other resident well-read baddie. God, words. Kinsey, she was doing my hair and I had to bend down so she could curl it and shit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get back up. I don't have mega knees.
I'm gonna need you to do some stretching now.
Yeah, I got to, because I said this is bad.
We're too young to not be getting back up. But then it's funny you say that, because I was out dancing after we wrapped up and I was trying to do some jumping on the dance floor.
Ooh.
Tell me why my knees were killing me. I was ouch. I mean, I kept jumping.
Yeah.
But I was this is not a good look.
Yeah.
Or feeling.
I was about to say, because that's nobody else knows.
Yeah, I
except
guess
you and your knees.
my knees was screaming.
The knees are screaming.
But yeah, I need to get into the gym like Beyonce is.
That's what I said I am. Beginning of May, well, really starting tomorrow, I'm going to be on my shit. She said hello.
May is really coming up.
It is. I'm going to be on my shit because
I know.
I got to do better.
Me too. I am on that with you.
Per. Okay. Follow us everywhere at She Well Read. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are watching on YouTube currently, do a quick wave. Hi. Nice to see you.
Hey,
Glad that
guys.
you're here. And you know about the Amazon storefront and the bookshop. Shit's still getting moved. You know the drill.
Give her a break.
It's been a long month. I also finished the semester. So that too.
Wait, so you're... Oh, there's another semester?
There's 2 more semesters.
Damn.
I got the summer. I got 2-ish weeks off and then
You
mini
start
summer
back?
semester. Yeah.
Oh.
But then I end that semester in June, late June.
Okay,
So
so
it's
short.
short.
All
But then I
right.
pick back up late August.
Late
But then
August.
that's it.
Not bad. That's not so bad.
It's not that bad when you lay it out like that.
You're really on the last...
Stretch.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, let's get on into the coffee break. Frank Ocean and Coachella.
Oh my God. I can't believe he did that.
There's been so much discourse around this. Did you also
lot.
see that Zendaya was there
No.
last night?
What? Zendaya?
Yeah, I sent it on Twitter.
Performing?
Yeah, on Labyrinth set. When they did, what's that song? All For Us?
Oh, yeah.
She came and sang. She looks so good and she sounds so
Really?
good. Yeah.
I need to see that. I didn't see anything about
I
that.
sent it in the group chat.
That's iconic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, random.
Yeah, I was like,
remember
hello?
her brief music
Replay?
stint.
Somebody was like, now she knows she could have gave us a little a replay while she was up there.
That's literally when you said she performed. I was like, she's got one song.
She actually
But
had
I
more than one
forgot
song.
about.
but-
Well,
but, you know.
I forgot about the Labyrinth thing. You know,
Mhm.
it's one of those things you never think you're gonna see live, but
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Right. I heard it was great.
I heard that Blink 182 or something
Replaced.
replaced Frank,
Mhm.
and they got the same amount of money. So I was like, solid.
Yeah.
It was $4 million.
Yeah. But I wonder if Frank is going to have to pay back Coachella.
I was reading
For-
something, and they were like, probably not.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Because he had this whole skating rink set built and ditched it at the last minute and then went over curfew. I was like, oh, he's getting fined for that, right?
I know. I would have thought that too. But I was reading
Wow.
some articles, and they're like, the place is probably, or whoever the people that produced this thing are probably just going to take the loss.
Oh, wow.
And apparently it's a pretty big loss.
Yeah. Because I remember weekend 1, they lost $117,000
Shit.
or were fined $117,000 for going over curfew. That was
It's
just going
crazy
over
that they have
curfew.
curfews. Is
I
that
meant to
a
look into that.
California thing?
I have no idea.
Because why is the curfew 12? To
It might be a
me,
safety thing.
I guess, but to me, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm used to like a festival, like in whatever Tennessee where they're like, you like live at the festival, you know what I mean?
But I think all of them do have curfews, because I know Hangout, like, you had to be done by a certain time.
That's so interesting.
So I think it's based on the city too. Like the city might have their own rules around what the festival can and can't do.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Don't quote us on any of this.
Right.
Also, per usual, this
That
is like.
sucks. That sucks. I just was like, because I feel like it's very typical of an artist to be an hour late, but it does suck that he had to end it like so much earlier. And I felt honestly bad for him. Like, I know a lot of people are hating on this man, which I get that if you paid for it, like you wanted a performance and you were expecting, I mean, it's Coachella.
Right.
So anyway, then the set sounded cool. I don't know how that was going to play into his music, because I've never seen him once talk about ice skating.
Right. The only thing I thought about ice skating, and I was like, I mean, ice skating is pretty like calm and like chill, and so like maybe that's the vibe he was going for.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was interesting, and maybe it was just something different. Because I mean, honestly, let's be fucking for real. No one's going to top Beychella. Like, it's not gonna happen.
I know, but if you're not into Beyonce, I can see how Frank. To me, I was like, oh, that's the next best thing. Like, back when I missed Beyonce, I was like, I'm going to Frank. Like, once they announced it, I was like, I have to go. I've never been to Coachella. Like, this is the one that I'd love to see, you know? I mean, obviously, I would have loved to see Beyonce, but at least we got a fucking, you know, documentary about it. So I still can, like, pretend I was there.
Right.
But yeah, that was such an iconic one. I think it is kind of disappointing. I don't know. There's so many things to talk about with it, because like I do feel like the bar for men is just lower generally.
Yeah.
But
I never even thought about that. For real. It is. You like you when you see it, wow, like even my own bias, when I see a woman get on stage, I'm like, oh, they about to put on a show. Da, 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 da. But a dude, I'm like, I don't have many high expectations. Oh, wow.
Like if you think about this conversation was big back when Ed Sheeran was like on his tour, where he was just like, it was literally him sitting on a stool with a guitar and a mic and just playing his music. And people paid hundreds of dollars for the tickets, and like, you know, I guess it just depends on the artist's vibe.
That's what I was about to say too. Like whatever the artist gives off, like that's what I would expect. Like an Ed Sheeran concert, that's what I would expect to see.
Yeah.
Or like even when I went to Adele, I didn't expect much at
like
all.
Jumping jacks.
And like God love Adele. She even said at the beginning, hey, I know many of my songs are not stand up and like dance with me songs. So I'm gonna let y'all know,
not her
like,
being real.
Yeah, she's being so real. She was like, I know y'all got uncomfortable shoes on, like you look good.
Period.
She said, I'm gonna do all of the like ones that you stand up for back to back to back, so that after that, once that's done, you can just sit down and enjoy the concert.
Okay, I was gonna say I would have fallen asleep, but at the same time, it's Adele, so why the fuck would I fall asleep?
Yeah, I mean, it's like going to an opera or something, or like a musical.
That's so true.
If you think about it.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
Yeah,
fair enough. I've never fallen asleep in one of those.
Right, and you're just sitting and watching the whole time.
Performance.
Right, it's a performance.
Either way, I guess there's just so many types of performances, and so this is the part that I didn't know about that made me kind of change my mind too. About Frank, because I was like, that's so rude of him to do that.
Yeah.
But then I learned that him and his brother, who passed recently, like 2 years ago, used to always go to Coachella together. So at the same time, after I learned that, I was like, oh, so he was like really probably going through it. And he like performed a ballad of this song that he wrote for his brother, which I literally didn't even know it was for his brother. And like, you know, I think that when someone like Frank does choose to grace us with his presence, it's hard. I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't show his face much. So I'm like, feel blessed that we got to see his face, you know, because he doesn't ever come out of his like wherever the fuck he is.
Yeah. And I also feel like very much reminds me of a Lauryn Hill. Like, you know how Lauryn Hill's always like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, and then she's not there. It's like, you know your favorite artist,
Yes.
and you know what they give.
Yes.
So, like, you have to go into it with that, too.
That's so true.
And so, I feel like when I saw that Frank was going, I was like, you about to do a Lauryn Hill and not actually show up.
I feel like none of us were sure if he was gonna actually be there.
Yeah. And so, but it's also, and I just, like, caught myself while I was thinking of this thought. I was like, I would never go to a festival to see one person.
Yeah, that's
Like,
kind of a mistake.
But we did that
When?
in college when we went to go see Kehlani at Voodoo. We only went for Kehlani.
Girl,
for real,
I did
for
not
real.
go for Kehlani.
Oh, I only went for Kehlani. And Kendrick. Those were like the two, and I was like, I'm good.
Kendrick. It was Kendrick, but then that one makes me mad because we had to leave early. It was such fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I feel like I went to that for more. I don't go for people just for. I mean, if you go to one day though, I guess that's
Right.
fine.
That's the thing that I was going to say. We only went for one day when the person we wanted to see was going to be there. Like, we didn't buy for the whole weekend or anything like that.
So that's fair.
Yeah. But I will say, I think we put, again, like the conversation kind of we were having the last episode, we put so much pressure on these people
Yeah.
to do these things that we expect them to do. And I also saw this take that I really liked on TikTok where she was saying, like, you know, kind of like both ends of the stick, where it's like, yes, Frank was going through a lot probably with that performance, probably thinking about his brother, it's a fresh wound.
Yeah.
He's like injured or whatever too, like his ankle.
Forgot.
But at the same time, you as a performer need to be like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to put on a show, period. It doesn't even have to be like the best show of your life or anything like that. I'm not going to be able to put on a quality show for these people who are coming to spend their money to see me.
Yeah.
Let me step away.
Yeah.
Because like when you were saying
Valid.
like the thing of like
valid.
blessed with his presence, I think that dips into that whole idolism that we have of these celebrities. And like even when people are like, oh, you Beyonce stands, y'all idolize her and think she can do no wrong, which it's like some Beyonce fans are in fact like that. Do I agree with it? No. Do I think that woman is the best thing since sliced bread? Yes. But I would still be disappointed and upset if she did those. Like I wouldn't like give her all of the excuses in the world. It's like, you fucked up, you fucked up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
He
Like, you
did.
can still give people grace while still scolding them and saying you fucked up and could have made better decisions, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like when I said that, it was like two-sided.
Right. Yeah,
you
no.
know?
Right. But I feel like I've heard people who, like, just take that one and, like, ride with that. So that's why I was pointing it out when I heard it. I was like, man, there's some people who, like, will just ride out on that, too, and be like, he's like
That's
God.
true.
He's like
That's true.
a presence. And it's like, no, he's just a guy.
But he created.
Yes,
That's
he
the
created.
thing.
That's true. He
It's
created this like type of image where like you're lucky
Yeah,
to
like
see me.
Frank could beat somebody up, and I'm still like, Frank is the best thing since sliced
Sliced bread?
bread. Yeah, like Beyonce, Rihanna, they're billionaires. I don't fuck with that, but I'm a ride for them in a fight, like
Yeah.
because of what they created. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's like the art too.
It's the art. It's not idolizing them as a person. It's like it's like one of those like Bad Bunny could do As It Was, but Harry Styles couldn't do one of Bad Bunny's songs. It's like
yeah, that's true too.
Malcolm. I'm thinking about Mac Miller. Like he did so much, like he did so many drugs and like treated himself so bad, but like the art that came out of it, it's like it's a weird thing when it's art. It's like there's so many racist artists, and like artists are usually tortured. Like the ones
true.
that make the greatest art are usually terrible humans.
Yeah, terrible humans or have been, like you said, tortured humans, and that's where the art came
and
from.
that's where they become. That's why they're so terrible. Like I don't agree with how Frank went about it, but he's an artist, and like they kind of live by their own rules. They're not like working a 9 to 5. Like you don't have to put a 2 weeks notice in. Like there are no rules in a way for people like them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true also. I guess it's just like knowing, I don't even know the word I'm thinking of. Knowing your like limits to like individually, like how far you're willing, like kind of like the swarm, like how far you're willing to go for your favorite artist or your like favorite celebrity or whatever the fuck. Like how mentally invested you decide to be in this person.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, I hope he's okay as a person, as a human being.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I feel like everybody's emotions are valid. At this
like
point.
everybody's
Like, if
side
you're
in this
mad,
situation.
like, I get it.
Right. Like if you really like travel, like even Lil Wayne, he postponed recently his Atlanta performance. I don't know why, but I saw that he postponed it.
Yeah.
And somebody I know, their friend flew to Atlanta just to see Lil Wayne.
Damn.
Now that situation, I'm like, damn, that's kind of fucked.
It sucks, but like,
life lives. Like
sucks.
sometimes, like who knows? Maybe he wasn't feeling well all of a sudden, and it's almost like you said, like artists don't have a 9 to 5. They can't take PTO that day and like everything will still run as it should. It's like
when Adele
they are the
canceled
company,
her thing.
or when Adele canceled and had to reschedule.
You know, it's just like one of those things. But I think you're right in like know the artist, because like when Rihanna was scheduled for the halftime show, I was like, is this happening? Until it happened.
Until it happened.
Because I was like, just can't see this girl practicing and performing. Like not everyone is Beyonce,
right?
So
yeah.
Anyway,
True.
R.I.P. I'm glad I didn't go.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say.
She said that's what I'll say.
Pissed.
Or like the people for Weekend 2 who like he didn't even go at all.
I would have been like, I would have been like, fuck Blink 182. Sorry, Travis. Like,
not Travis Barker. I'm not a fan.
You haven't touched me the way Frank has.
Damn.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh.
All right, let's get into more crazy. Oh, yeah. Okay. You ready?
Let's get into... Look, we told y'all it wasn't our day. Don't count this against us, because I can't think. My head's pounding. I don't know what's going on.
Not pounding, Jesus. This is a rough cut episode.
Pray for us.
Yeah. But let's get into the chapter. That's as best as y'all gonna get today.
Chapter
oh my goodness.
31.
31.
Yes, guys. So we start in a weird place.
Yeah.
It's a lot of awkward moments.
Which again, trigger warning.
Yes, thank you for that.
We talk a lot about, a lot of body dysmorphia topics again, and a lot of kind of like sexualizing children almost too.
Yeah.
So if you're, not cool with that and don't, you don't have to listen to this part.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Feel free to skip forward or come back, whatever you need to do.
Period. But to get into it, Jeanette is basically trying on bathing suits for the creator. Mm-hmm. And we learn a little bit about the creator in this chapter.
Yeah, it's like this ominous person. And I was wondering, I was like, is she calling him the creator in the book so he can't come and sue her for defamation?
Oh.
The whole time I was reading this, I was like, is that why she's not saying his actual name? So that technically like a legal loophole almost?
Might be. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if she didn't want to give his name power.
Oh, that's another way to look at it too.
It could be that, or but it's kind of interesting because I think they could get around the defamation. I feel like because we all know who the creator is.
This is true.
It's not like we don't know,
but I feel like it's one of those legal loopholes where it's like, well, we didn't explicitly say who it was.
Period.
So, because them loopholes, that's how they be getting you right there.
Lawyers, they do their little things. I don't know,
right? Which we are on the set of iCarly for anybody who wants to know who the creator is.
Yes, we won't say his name either. Honestly,
nope. We're gonna read it as is.
Yeah. So, Jeanette is y'all, we know that she has started to develop against her will. And so she's a little uncomfortable. And for some reason, they want her they've tried on a few bathing suits, like a one piece, which is the one she wanted to wear.
Yeah.
But they have to get a picture of her in this 2-piece bikini for the creator, which don't really know why they need that. It kind of weirded me out.
Yeah, and what really weirded me out too is the way they described it as like taking a Polaroid picture in each of these bathing suits. It like flashed me to a scene of Law and Order where they're going into like the pedophile's cave, and it's like, you know, these Polaroid pictures of these children or like sexual acts or like whatever.
That's kind of where I was feeling too.
That's where it brought me to, and I was
what
like,
is he doing with these pictures exactly?
Right, outside of the
porn.
show.
It's like a way to, like, as someone in power, it's like you can make these things happen that are not really
needed.
Yeah, I don't see why this is necessary at all. And she's literally like, can I just not? Like, she doesn't want to do this. And the wardrobe designer is like, he needs this. You know him, like, he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be mad. And we get into the fact that like he's so temperamental.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to make him mad, so the stylist is just like, you have to do it.
And of course her mom's egging it on in the background per usual.
Right. And so she puts her little dressing or bathing suit on, steps out of the dressing room, and they take her picture. But overall, she's just like, I feel really sexual in this, and it makes me feel gross, and I just want to be a kid.
Yeah, I want to like stay in my childlike state, pretty much. Which is just...
It's like she's being forced to confront her sexuality in this bikini.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
she's like, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable. And even 32 starts off quite uncomfortable. It literally starts with our lips are touching. And I'm like,
moving his
hello?
mouth around.
Yeah.
His eyes are closed.
Yeah. And so we're on chapter 32, page 111, if you're keeping up with us. We are again on the set of iCarly. Most of this episode, we're going to be on the set of iCarly. And she's having her first kissing scene, which also turns out to be her first kiss like in life ever. And I went back and thought about like my first kiss, but I didn't have my first kiss till college, freshman year.
Heard that.
Just because.
How was it?
It was a time. It was a memory.
It was like this.
It literally was like this
Our
because
lips are touching. I guess anyone's first kiss is not like the best experience.
Yeah.
I don't really remember mine, but I don't think it was great.
It reminded me of that 303 song. My first kiss went a little like this.
Katy Perry really did that.
She really did. And she talks about how the creator is telling her how to do this kiss, like how he wants the kiss to look on screen in this scene, and she's just not getting it right. But she's not getting it right because she doesn't want to be doing it, and it's just uncomfortable and embarrassed by the whole situation.
Oh, I know.
And she's saying like it's really difficult to play this scene out. She even says, and this is one of the episodes where she's kissing Nathan Kress, who plays Freddie on the show. And she literally says, lips taste like Blistex chapstick. And I was like, what did my first kiss taste like? Oh, yeah, coins.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like,
gross.
it was disgusting.
I'd rather have the Blistex.
That's literally what I was thinking. I was like, Jeanette, I would have rather the Blistex.
Jeanette, get a load of this.
But she also would have rather it be on her own terms. So I feel like we're even.
Valid. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
She is getting paid though.
This is true.
You didn't get paid.
That is
For
that is also true. But being paid for something she don't want to be doing. I feel like
That's
she
her whole
wins.
life at
She
this
wins.
point. You won this one. You were on this run. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to talk.
So yeah, and she's just really not feeling the role, as we said, and he's really just like, the creator's really screaming at her, like, because he wants her to like turn her head and like lips move and moving, like,
he's like trying to make this look natural, and she's like, I literally don't know what to do.
Yeah. And so they literally cut the scene, like they do the scene, but it's like, he's like, you know what, all right, I guess this is as best as it's gonna get, like it's fine. And you know, Nathan's kind of like, hey, we're done, like, and like he knows it was her first kiss and like on screen.
Yeah.
And so she's like, you know, haphazardly laughing, like, yay, we're done. And she ends it with, just like that, my first kiss is over with, and my second kiss, and my third kiss, and my fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh, technically, since we did 7 takes. And I'm just like, oh, poor baby. Yeah.
I know.
I hate this. I hate all of this for her.
Oh.
And it only gets worse.
Not
but
Wassa.
it's getting deeper too, I think, like deeper into like her emotions in all of this.
I totally agree. So this one is 33. We're on page 114 now, and they are on their way to a lunch meeting with the creator. Her mom's freaking out a little bit, a lot of it, because
a lot of it.
a lot. I was like, I have to correct myself because she's never freaking out a little bit. It's
Right.
always like crazy.
Yeah, never the normal amount.
Yeah, seriously. And she is worried because, not worried, but she's excited and freaking out because this is I'm thinking of giving you a spin-off show lunch date. And so this is like, there's a lot on the line here.
Yeah.
And they all know what this could be. So anyway.
Yeah, they're wanting it to go well because the creator is known to do spin-off shows, and the fact that they're about to have this lunch is like, oh, it's a good chance, like he wants you for the spin-off of potentially what, you know, After iCarly could be.
Which is, I mean,
That's a big deal.
it's her mom's dream,
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm glad you said her mom's dream, because
So-
that's whose it is.
And Jeanette's like, I don't know if we should be putting all this expectation on the lunch date because we'll probably, you know, it's just like
She's so mature and realistic in that sense too.
she is. And something that is kind of funny about this situation is that she's with the two people in her life that like stress her out the most.
That's so true.
And so she's like trying to please the creator and she's trying to please her mom at the same time. And so it's kind of like very anxiety inducing. And so they get there and the creator's already there and he starts complimenting her.
Which, like, I feel like it's like, I feel like when your boss gives you a really good compliment, like, bitch, you're doing a good job. Like,
I mean,
yay,
it
pat
feels-
on the back.
It feels good, but
Right.
the
Not in this way.
the reason she's like not really feeling it and she is very mature and she says that she doesn't want to get too attached to when he compliments her because this is something he always does and it's a way that he like makes you feel better before and like at the same time on the other hand he can like make you feel really really bad about yourself and he's made people cry on set including like a child.
Yeah.
He like fired her on the spot,
Yeah, she was like, what, 6, I think it said?
like very young, like no one needs to go through that at 6 but he will like make adults cry, anybody, like he will make you feel so bad when you do something wrong. So she's like, I don't want to even care too much about when he's telling me I'm doing something good.
Yeah.
And another thing that's fucked up is that when he is complimenting her, he's like undercutting everybody else around him. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you talk about other people like that when you're talking to me, like, what are you talking about me to other people? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
I feel like even like, you know, we went through this with like our different friendships where it's like you're talking to somebody, it's like, okay, are you just venting about this situation, or it's like, are you just straight up talking shit right now? And then if you're talking like this about them, what are you saying about me?
Yeah, one of those real life, like,
Yeah, let's think about
can't
this.
trust it. So he's like, you know, I work with a lot of young actresses. A lot of them are pretty. Some of them are funny, but none of them are as talented as you.
And it's like,
Thanks.
I think.
He's really like, you act circles around them. You could win an Oscar someday.
And you know her mom's eating this shit up.
Her mom is like, her smile is going to break her face at this point. And I think she's probably like, Jeanette, smile more. And they've practiced this. She's like, she already told her, like, make your eyes wide when if he says the thing we want him to say, so you can seem more engaged and like just be really agreeable and, you know, bring up my cancer.
I was just finna say, like, they literally talked about on the car right there. She says, one of us should bring up my cancer too to really get him on our side. I can take it if you'd like. Like, almost like, I don't know, just this gross bargaining chip that she tries to use.
She loves making people feel guilty. And it's funny because both of them, creator and mom, are super manipulative. And so I think that Jeanette kind of knows how to survive around the creator
that's a
and
good
like
point.
knows how to be this mature of like, don't take anything he says too seriously. Like, I wish in a way that she could take this and it's harder when it's your own mom. But I think that in a way, her mom prepared her for this psychological bullshit that the creator is on.
Damn, that is so true. I didn't even think about that when I was reading this.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like on 116, he says the creator knows how to make someone feel worthless. Anyway, so the creator orders the main course, and it's a bunch of fatty foods that Jeanette knows her mom is not going to want her to eat. But on the other hand, she doesn't want to offend the creator because he's paying for the food, and she doesn't want him to think that she thinks he has bad taste. Like, she's kind of stressed because she's overwhelmed in general. So she starts picking at her food to like make both of them happy in a way. And he starts to get into why he invited them to lunch. He says, well, he starts to say, and then I don't know if this is intentional, but he starts to kind of drag it out. Jeanette's like, he's making mom struggle because her mom just wants to hear the magic words.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, first, let me ask you a question. How do you like being recognized? How do you like being famous? And her mom is like answering all these questions for her. She's like, she loves it. Absolutely loves it. The fans adore her. She adores the fans.
Yeah.
They almost always say she's their favorite character. And
which Sam was my favorite character on iCarly. She was so fucking funny.
Mine too. Totally agree. So I get it.
Yeah.
And anyway, the creator finally gets to the magic words. He says, good, because you're gonna have a lot more of it. I want to give Jeanette her own show. And her mom's like, she literally drops her fork in excitement. Like, this is like a movie. And he's like, I even have the name picked out, Just Puckett. He's like, isn't that a fun name for your show? And her mom's like, yes, it is.
And I'm just like, no, it's not. I don't know. I don't like that, because I'm thinking just fuck it. Like,
maybe that's kind of where he was going with it.
Whoa.
That makes more sense.
That's kind of iconic, honestly. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Now it is a good name.
Now it is a good name.
I didn't get that.
Now we're here. We get it.
Creator, I see what you were doing there.
We don't fuck with you, but that was good. That was a good one.
Yeah, I guess he's good at his job. I don't know.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But he like dangles this in front of them, and then he's like, oh, no, you can't have it right now. And he's like, iCarly's doing too well. We can't do this now, but in a couple of years, if you do exactly what I say and you listen to me and you let me guide you, I promise I'm going to give you this show.
Yeah, which I thought was gross as he was saying it. I was like, the pedophilia just keeps growing in my mind of like the grossness of it. Because he's still talking to a child at the end of the day.
I didn't think about that at all.
Like,
you're right.
The words.
She's like 13.
Yeah, well, I think we did get an age check somewhere, but I think she's around like 15, 16 at this time.
Okay.
She's a little older, but still
young.
Still young.
Her mom's crying. She's like, my baby deserves it. And she is very aware that there's a contingency when it comes to this promise. She's like very smart. We know this. And so on the way home, her mom's like, why don't you seem happier? You're getting your own show. And she's like, she basically lies to her mom's like, I am happy. And her mom's like, good, because everyone wants what you have.
Right. And it's like, yes, there are a lot of people who would want that, but Jeanette's not even one of them.
Her mom doesn't know.
It's just
her mom
so
thinks
fucked per usual.
It's very, very, and then 34 is just like intense.
Keeps the punches rolling. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. And so iCarly has been on the air for about 3 years now, and she's saying in some ways it's getting easier. She's developed her friendship with Miranda, we love to hear, and she is just very thankful for this relationship with Miranda. Like, it's kind of like an escape from all the shit that's going on around her. It's like the one part of the job that she likes is that she gets to be friends with Miranda.
That's true. They've like developed like a real friendship.
Yeah. But, you know, and then also another good thing is like her mom's not as worried about bills. Like, her family's more taken care of because of the checks that she's getting at Nickelodeon. But it's still not enough for her mom. Like, she even says they should be ashamed of the salary they give you. Compared to network TV, it's jelly beans. Jelly beans! And she said no residuals either with Nickelodeon. Or should I say nickel and dime-elodian. And I was like, bro, come on. Like, it's never good enough for her. Ever.
It never will be.
And Jeanette says, you know, despite her complaints, she know deep down she's grateful because it's a big step from where they used to be. But she's still, of course, monitoring her lunches. But now we kind of see a shift in the food that she's eating.
Yeah.
Like, yes, she's still eating basically scraps, in my opinion, is what I would describe all of this as. But she notes for breakfast, she makes her breakfast, which, like, she didn't do before. She even says, I've never seen her support eating like this. I was like,
that's your mom.
Jesus Christ.
God damn it.
And she says she wonders if this new development of her supporting her meals is because of Miranda and Nathan eating breakfast and lunch in their joint schoolroom, and it might look weird if she doesn't or is eating way less.
I know. I was like, but she doesn't focus on that for too long.
She's like, I'm not even gonna ask.
Yeah.
Just gonna let it happen.
She's like, I'm just gonna take this blessing.
Yeah, take this win.
Yeah.
And keep it pushing.
Right.
And she talks about, you know, how her body is shifting and her nipple buds have become tiny breasts and just, you know, puberty things that are happening right now.
Yeah.
Her skin's breaking out. She started wearing makeup and trying to cover that. Like, just she says she used to not like wearing makeup, but now that she's breaking out, she's like, concealer ain't that bad. Mood, right. Big mood. And she also recently started shaving her legs, which this part was fucked to me because she also says, well, mom does it for me because she still showers me even though I'm 16.
Lord Jesus. Like, when is the day she graduates and gets to wash herself?
Gets to wash her own
Is it
ass.
21? Like, is it 18? I don't know. Because 16, it's like we've passed the age where this is weird, where this is fucked. 16 is like people go off to war at 16. 18, but like I think it was probably 16. Like, the legal drinking age used to be 16. Like, you can drive at 16.
You can get a job at 16.
You can get a job. Like, you're basically almost
You're prepping
there.
for adulthood, basically.
Yeah, you still live in your parents' house at that age, but you are like getting some independence. But the fact that this is like base level.
Yeah.
She should have been washing herself at 6. It's 10 years later. Like, at what point
is enough?
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know when it's going to be.
Right at this point, because when I read that, I was like, are you shitting me?
Yeah. Like, is it 17? Is it 16 and a half?
Are we almost there?
Right. Like,
are we there yet?
Where? And I guess her
That's a good
brother's
episode title. Anywho.
Period. I like that. And I was actually wondering, like, why are because in the next chapter, and that's kind of ahead, but I was like, why aren't the brothers there? But now I'm realizing they're probably like
way older,
out of the house, so it's just her and her mom.
Yeah. And she talks about how she started shaving her legs because one of the moms of her co-stars like was criticizing her, like making fun of her for having hairy legs. And it reminded me of a situation that happened to me at like my literal birthday party. I think it was in middle school, and it was a pool party, and so I had a bikini. I think this was my first time like where I got my mom to buy me a bikini. Like, it's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
And like, it's a real bikini. And one of my friends she was like, hey, she was really gentle about it. She was like, hey, like, I don't know if you've started doing this yet, if your mom showed you how to do it, but I noticed that.
That's really nice a way to say that.
Yeah, it was a really nice way to say it. It was still super embarrassing though. Yeah, but she was like, but you know, your down there is really hairy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something about her legs. Damn.
Yeah, because my mom never really taught me how to shave my private part. And so for the pool, I like thought nothing of it because
You're a child.
and I'm thinking like, oh, if this was like an actual big deal or something, like my mom would have, taken care of it or like shown me how to take care of it. But so the fact that was the real start of me like paying attention to that and like learning more about it, like, oh, like people at least like their bikini line or like something when they're wearing bathing suits and stuff.
Yeah, that hair comes in quick.
It does. And so, like I'm rocking a full bush and like, yeah, it's coming out the sides.
You were actually French, so.
I was French. Period.
You should have told her that. Have you been to France? This is how they do it.
The funny thing is she was Canadian. And like spoke French.
That's fucking hilarious. No, yeah, I actually wrote in my notes like this is so funny because I had to beg my parents to let me shave.
Really?
Yeah, because in gym that was the first time in 6th grade where like my legs were like, well, in the summer it was bothering me like when I was wearing like shorts and stuff, and all the girls had like smooth legs and I had hairy legs. Mm-hmm. So it was like kind of an issue, but then at a certain point we started wearing shorts in gym. And, like, that was an everyday thing. And so I was like, oh, God, like, I really, really, really need to get this leg shit together.
Yeah.
And tell me why my dad was like, you don't need to shave. And he made it a huge thing for me. And I was, like, crying, like, Dad, like, you have to let me shave. Like, everybody else is shaving.
Yeah.
And he's, like, from Africa. He's like, you don't need to shave. Like, what the fuck? He's like, you barely have any hair. I can't see your hair.
Yeah, it is a very American thing.
And I'm like, no, you can. My hair is black. And he's like, well, you're black. And I'm like, no, my hair is black. Like, you can see this shit. It's not blonde, Dad. Even if it was, like, why can't I shave?
Yeah.
And I had to talk to my mom. It was a whole thing in our household. And it was a stressful thing for me. That was big in my life. I was like, God damn it, every day. Like, all the popular girls had smooth legs. Mm-hmm. And they would even, like, I even thought it was cool when people would show up with, like, cuts on their legs from shaving. Like, I idealized that because I was like, I can't wait to shave and, like, fuck myself. Not really, but, like
you want to do that bad.
That bad, y'all.
Damn.
But anyway, that was super random.
Yeah.
But it really reminded me of it because, like, people do kind of, like, look down on you. Now, as a grown woman who can shave, I don't shave. But I wanted to be able to shave.
Right. You wanted the right to shave. Or, like, to, like, live up to this beauty standard at the time that was, like,
I wanted
normal.
to wear mascara. I wanted to get my eyebrows waxed. Like,
and, like, things that all come with age, too. Like your growing interest in these things, too.
Ooh, I wonder if my dad was trying to stop me from growing up, too.
Could have been.
He's a little mature. Because he's always been against, like, any boyfriend I've had, like
those little like microaggressions of like turning into an adult. Basically.
Literally. So anyway, thoughts.
But we get to her talking about how the show is progressively becoming more popular. They're going to all these talk shows, going to award shows, and she can't go anywhere without being recognized. And people always approach her like, Sam, where's your fried chicken? Bruh. Or can you hit me with your butter sock?
This cracked me up.
Yeah, it was so fucking funny. And so, but she's so unimpressed by this, and it causes her so much anxiety. She even says, I'm tired of people approaching me like they own me, like I owe them something. I didn't choose this life. Mom did.
I know. And that's what's so different about it, I think. Because, like, I don't think she would be as resentful. Like, if I'm imagining, like, Kim Kardashian who wanted to be famous. So, like, the way that her mom acts, which is a little further ahead, but the way her mom acts with the paparazzi is kind of how I would think Kim would react to when, like, it's like, oh my God, they're finally noticing me. But Jeanette literally didn't want to be famous. She just was acting because her mom wanted to, and then the show blew up. Right.
And then she goes into talking about how child stars, how their careers turn out, which I thought was very interesting and great points. She's saying, you know, people are saying, like, she'll say to people, see you at the movies, which isn't true because she's not in any movies. She's just on TV. And she's talking about the transition from child stardom to a legitimate career as an adult in the entertainment industry is notoriously really tough, which I'm like, yeah, you don't really, the crossover is not that easy. You don't see it a lot. And she says the second the child star tries to grow and break free from their image, they become bait for the media. highly publicized as rebellious, troubled, and tortured, when all they're trying to do is grow. And it instantly made me think of Miley Cyrus because when Can't Be Tamed came out,
that was
after her trying to like transition from like her Hannah Montana image, like it was huge. The moms were going nuts.
I know, they like put her on their like, I don't know, kill list. Like they were upset. It was like in tabloids, just like as soon as she like put that image out there, people were like, she's doing drugs, she's drinking, and all of a sudden we started seeing like videos of random shit that teenagers do, and
like they can't be normal teenagers because they're in this spotlight position.
I know, she did sum it up really well on 121. If y'all are reading, like, it was great.
And she's saying that, you know, the fame has also put a wedge between her and her mom that she didn't even think was possible.
I know. I thought that was so interesting.
It's really the way she like sets this book up and sets all of these chapters up. You really see the growth and progression of her mental state too.
So true.
Of how she's viewing all of this. And like her writing is really, really good. And she even says her happiness came at the cost of mine. I feel robbed and exploited.
That was so well said.
And it was deep too.
Yeah.
And she said, I pretended for my job for so long and for my mom for so long. And now I'm starting to think I'm pretending for myself too. So we're really reaching this great awakening of Jeanette and her mental state and how she feels about acting and all of these things.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, and it got me thinking like a way further ahead of like, oh my gosh, like, was this the start of her being like iCarly and like Sam and Cat, and that's it? Like, I'm not doing anything after this, because it's like, you know, she was growing up, she's getting older. So I feel like we probably will see some of that later on.
No, I totally agree. And yeah, it's like we finally got to the top of the mountain. And she's like, I'm so unhappy. So that's really upsetting. And like, it's really sad because I feel like she's starting to gaslight herself heavy about like, she hates her mom, but then she's like, damn, I feel bad for my mom. Or not, I feel bad for my mom, but like, I'm supposed to love my mom. So she feels guilty. And then she's like, it's okay that you don't like your mom. Like, your mom sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like hard to accept that.
Yeah, and on 35 I feel like we get a little more into that too.
So true. Okay, so getting into 35, y'all, it's Sunday morning and everyone in the house is asleep. Jeanette wants to go to church. It's been a minute since they went to church.
6 months to be exact.
It's their longest stint ever, and she's just like really anxious. She like wants to go. And her mom is asleep, and she is like trying to wake her up. This is the third time she's tried. She brings her tea, like she's reheating the tea because it's gotten cold. And she's like, Mom, we have to leave now. Like, you have to start getting ready or we're not gonna make it. And her mom's basically just like sleeping. She's like, yo, I've worked too hard lately. I'm too tired.
Which is like the audacity.
I know. She's like, Jeanette's like, I'm tired too. I've worked hard lately too.
Right.
And she actually says, I've worked a lot harder than Mom has. And then she says, I feel guilty for thinking this. And we get a little bit of like her internal dialogue here. She's like, she does drive me to and from work, which has to be tiring. And then like the other part of her is like, well, yeah, but I do homework on the drive plus memorize lines, then spend 10 hours on set rehearsing, performing, and being on under bright lights and intense pressure while she sits up in the dressing room perusing Women's World and gossiping with my co-stars' moms. And so it's like these two, it's like the devil on her shoulder and the angel on her shoulder. And she's just not allowing herself to really feel upset at her mom.
Yeah.
She tries to swallow the conflicting parts of her. She's like, this is actually not the point of what's happening. Like, I need to focus on getting her to church.
Yeah, right. Like, we'll deal with this later, almost, in a sense.
Right. And then we get into this part on 124 that I thought was really interesting, where she's like, well, you know, I used to think being inactive was like a terrible thing, like the worst sin ever, but maybe it's just like you go to church to get things from God, and then once you get the thing from God, like, why you don't have to go anymore because you like got what you wanted. And she even says, who needs God when you've got clear mammograms and a series regular role on Nickelodeon? And I was like, I mean, like...
But I guess that is like that type of religious thing where I don't know how that's looked at. I'm sure this is not how it's looked at in the Mormon church. Like, at least for me, like Christianity, it's like, yes, you go to church to get to these points and like to pray and like whatever you need to do, but it's also like it's work too. You have to continuously put in the work still, even after the blessing comes.
Yeah, I do think that like people do view church as like Santa Claus, God, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, like please give me whatever, and I'll do this, and then you get it, and then you know, it's like very transactional.
Right. Where it's like, oh, if I do this tithe, like I'm going to get something back immediately or like automatically get something back in return, which kind of speaking of, we always talk about on the show how like support us, do these things. And I'm like, I took a second to reflect and I was like, what am I doing for like my favorite shows? Like one of my favorite independent shows. So like The Newsworthy, for example, which if you don't listen to The Newsworthy, you should. They have a $5 subscription set up where it's like every month, like it's an insider edition, so I don't have ads or anything like that, and I get like extra stuff. And I was like, it's only $5, like that's nothing. I can swing $5, and so I signed up. And then immediately the same day, coincidentally, we got our first Patreon subscriber.
Wow. I mean, the universe is very much you give and you receive. You know, it's not like you can take. I mean, that just brings me to like the global environmental crisis because we just take from the earth. We don't respect the earth, and then we wonder why there's global warming.
Right. Rabbit hole into all of those things too.
But like, yeah, I mean, her mom, we've known from jump, she does not really caring about God. She uses God as a way to manipulate people, and I think a lot of people do that. And so, of course, when she's not struggling, she doesn't give a fuck. Like,
right.
But it's sad that this is like the example that she's setting for Jeanette, because Jeanette's like confused as fuck.
Right. Which shout out to Julia, our other like OG resident well-read baddie, who is our first Patreon subscriber and member. Thank you so much. We love you.
Thank you, Julia.
And so we're wrapping it up with chapter 36. Jeanette has a stomach ache. She tells her mom after they just had a quick lunch with her manager, Susan. They're running down Sunset Boulevard to make it back to the set on time because they only get a 30-minute lunch. And this is kind of like what you were talking about earlier where they see the paparazzi and they're like, and her mom's telling her, smile for the paparazzi. And her mom literally goes, hi, Glenn. It's like this paparazzi person like they know. And he's like, hey, Dad. It's like, oh, gosh. And so they get back to the Nickelodeon studios and she's like trying to like race to the dressing room to get ready for the next scene. She pulls down her pants and she realizes that there's blood on her underwear.
Oh my God.
It's like jump scare.
Right.
And she says she first learned about a period, which is what we're talking about, menstruation, 6 years ago when her neighbor Teresa, who was exactly 10 and 11 months older than her, and it was kind of one of those things where it's like somebody's like, I'm older than you by like 8 months or like whatever the fuck, when it's like, fuck off. But they're having the conversation of periods, and Jeanette doesn't really know like what a period is.
Yeah.
So Teresa's like describing it to her, and she's like, well, I got mine, and I was scared to see the blood at first, but then my mom taught me how to use pads and stuff, and then I went to hometown buffet with all the women in my family to celebrate, which I was like, oh, that's kind of cute, like that's kind of nice experience.
I would want that for my kid. I
Yeah.
didn't get a dinner with all the women.
Right, like you're like. My first period experience, I put the pad on backwards, and the sticky part, you can only imagine how that went. I'm gonna let that stay up into the imagination for y'all.
That's fucking hilarious.
Like my dumb ass. And so, Teresa's obviously describing it as like becoming a woman, and Jeanette's really confused, and she's like, I envied a lot of things about Teresa's life, but this is not one of them. This is becoming a woman is the last thing Jeanette wants. And she's sitting there now on the toilet and she calls out for her mom and she's like, I'm bleeding. And she can barely get the ing out of the bleeding. And her mom's in there and she's like, oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Like making it this like tragic event.
I know.
Which, I mean, your period's not fun. Like,
yeah, that's true.
but like your first introduction to it, I think is really important because it like sets you up for the future of how you see it and feel. Yeah. And so she like wraps this long strip of toilet paper around her hand and tells her to stuff it in her underwear. And she goes to get Patty, who is the school teacher. And she watches the clock tick by. It's 10 minutes later. Patty comes back and like basically gives her a pad and like says like, that's why you're like, Jeanette's running late, coming back to school and whatever. And she's like, congratulations, Jeanette. Congrats on becoming a woman. Like her worst nightmare. But then the thing that like really killed me is like now apparently everyone knows of like what happened because her mom had to be like, oh, this is why Jeanette was late. Instead of being like, oh, like we had, you know,
I know her mom.
Some private things happening. She like, oh, Jeanette got her period. And she says, you know, how did I become a woman? I thought I was doing everything in my power to avoid this. And she says, I know what I should do to fix this. Tomorrow there won't be any 2% milk or honeycomb or smart ones. I've been slacking and the slacking needs to stop. I need to get back to anorexia. I need to be a kid again.
I mean, it's so fucked, but I was like, wow. I mean, that's insane that she's just like, I need to get back to anorexia. Like,
right.
Like an old friend.
Right. And now we're seeing how like, oh, like, you know, that transition from she didn't really know what anorexia was and like eating disorders and that type of thing. But now she knows what it is and like she wants it.
I know.
And like it's mental battle game. Like,
well, that's just how you know. Like her mom is, I mean, that just happens. I guess your parents influenced you and that's why you have to unlearn it. But like she's really in the thick of
the learning. The
foundation, is like the foundation's anorexia.
So unfortunately that's where we end our episode today. We did have some story things that we're gonna do really quick, some questions that we asked y'all on Instagram, which reminder to go check out our Instagram if you want to participate.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna do one from last week just because
we have to catch up.
Get a chance. So last week we were kind of talking about how Jeanette's mom like was embarrassing her when she was trying to buy a gift for Miranda, her new cool friend. And so the question that we asked last week was, were you ever ashamed of your parents growing up? So the response we got was, yeah, my dad had explosive episodes often and would embarrass us in public.
Damn.
So that's really upsetting.
Right, like public humiliation, literally.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh,
it's really fucked.
I don't like that. And then we asked another question. That was, did your parents ever try to control who you hung out with? Because of this was the reason we asked this question was Jeanette's mom did not want her really hanging out with Miranda because she's not Christian or Mormon. And so it just kind of sparked that question in my mind. And so I got a few responses that said, absolutely, no sleepovers, listen to my phone calls, rarely let me go out without little siblings.
Felt that. I had that one too.
Yeah, I agree. Like, my dad was pretty controlling of like who I hung out with, and he was not a fan of sleepovers. Listens to phone calls is kind of an invasion of privacy. But I do know a lot of people who had to bring their like little siblings places. Yeah, true too. And then we got another one, and it was yes, but she was right about some. So that's kind of one of those. Because
sometimes moms be knowing. Like my mom's gotten it right sometimes too, and I'm like, damn, she was right about that person. Like you don't want to like acknowledge it. Yeah.
So I guess it can go several different ways. And okay, so we did have a question for this week because, you know, Jeanette's developing. And were you uncomfortable when you started developing? And so we got most people saying yes.
I was part of the yes.
Me too. And then we got a few no's, but it seems like a lot of people were uncomfortable.
I was very uncomfortable. It was
It's
not a fun
weird.
time.
It is a lot of awkward moments. Reading these chapters reminded me of it. Okay, and then, okay. This one's interesting. So this one says, how did adults around you react to your body developing? Because we know Miss Deborah was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And she's villainized getting older.
Yeah, that's a good word, villainizing it.
Versus her school teacher who had the, in my opinion, correct reaction. Congratulations.
Like more positive.
It should be celebrated. Like you made it.
Right.
So we got a few responses. One person said they ignored it, which
Valid.
okay. I do think we should have some conversations, ideally, but I guess it's better to be ignored than like to be weirdly objectified.
Ooh,
like this person who said they called me sexy, which is inappropriate.
On so many levels.
Because you're like 13 when you got the puberty. Anyway, and then we got one that said it felt like a secret everyone knew about except me until I started exploring on my own.
I relate to that too. Like I was uncomfortable, but like it felt like this ominous thing if it wasn't really being talked about, like just like plainly, you know?
Yeah, like there was no, I agree. Like I hope to have more conversations like around that time,
Like open and honest conversations.
So that like as a kid, like you just don't know what to expect. Like I remember I had my parents like buy me this like that damn book. I think it was American Girl.
No, it's I know why you're saying American Girl because like it had like that American Girl
energy.
essence.
You know the one we all did?
Yes, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna screenshot and I'm gonna send it to you and you're gonna be like, yeah, the one where they're like all in the towels.
Yes!
Yep.
I was like begging my mom. I was like, no one's talking to me about this. We were in Barnes and Noble. I was like, you need to buy this for me.
I remember I got it as a present.
I wish I had. But anyway, I did read the shit out of it. I was like, okay, my titties are gonna grow. And
Yeah,
then
like
they
it
never
shows
did.
you like
They never did, Lord.
it showed you like the pictures and they're like yours are like this, yours could be like this, yours could be like this. Yeah.
It was so fun. But I was like, hello. They need to have one that's like for little titty girls. Like, well, they're gonna do something, and then they're just gonna stop, and then just don't expect anything.
Yeah, like no big expectations.
They need to have one like that because I
should
was
make it.
so sad.
You could do
If
it.
you know you've got small chests in your family, give this to your daughter, and it's just gonna be like, nothing's really gonna change, girl. Don't worry
but
about
enjoy it. Here's the positives about it.
One day you're gonna really like it, and you won't have to wear a bra. Try
The
to look
biggest-
on the bright side. 'Cause
Right.
it is giving very much like you're expected to have titties, you're expected to have hips. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So you
Like
feel
all
like
these
you're, like,
changes
not
are
a
gonna
woman.
happen, and then damn, yeah, that's true.
Sad.
That is sad. Fuck.
Anyway, but thank you guys for answering.
Yes.
We will have questions next week.
More questions.
And yeah.
This is.
been great.
I'm sorry. You gonna close this out?
Oh my God.
What she
What do
said.
we even say at the end? I'm gonna let you do it.
This has been another episode of She Won't Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
Bye, y'all.